What TV show was amazing at first, but became unwatchable for you later on? Revolution, and I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it was entertaining at least. Then the main character kept being dumb and the entire plot took the most random non-scientific turn possible, and I just couldn't force myself to keep watching. This stuff is really helping me find shows with great 1 to 2 seasons and then know when to stop watching. How to Get Away with Murder had so much potential. Sliders after they killed off Professor Archero. Scandal. After a few seasons, yeah, I'd wish Olivia would kick Fitz to the curb and move on already. Once Upon a Time. The last season was awful. Any of the Xiers. Once you get into about 3/4 seasons of them, you start realizing how ridiculous some of these cases are. Misfits. I eventually came to appreciate Rudy as a character, and I did push through to the end despite it not being good anymore. But once most of the original main cast was gone, they just didn't have the plots to keep it going. With the first group, it was a decent enough premise. Working class teenagers doing community service who get superpowers related to their character flaws. The self-conscious one hears people's thoughts about her, the shy one becomes invisible, etc., which acted as a mechanism for developing the characters. Learn to control the powers, learn to overcome the character flaw. Simple but effective. By the end, it was just working class teenagers who are sometimes in orange jumpsuits, and also superpowers exist. Their characters weren't interesting, and their powers weren't thematically meaningful, so it just sort of meandered. Heroes. Pretty Little Liars. Wasted 7 years of my life with that show only for a mediocre ending. Glee. The first season was a hilarious satire of stupid teen dramas. Then it became a stupid teen drama. The Blacklist was good in the start, but they took 5 seasons to go anywhere. Weeds. Once they left the first suburb, can't remember the name, it just became about who Nancy would fuck to get them out of a bad situation. Pretty much every CW TV show let us be real. House of Cards. Falling Skies. I had a hard time taking it seriously after the first season. *REVENG***. The premise was fine, the location and society different, for someone in the UK anyway. The actors good in the first series moved the whole revenge plot along fast enough to be satisfying. The subplots served as red herrings for the basic conspiracy and/or snarky commentary on the class distinctions in the Hamptons, but didn't overwhelm the story. In season 2 it all slowed down and everything was being spun out to make the show run as long as possible at the expense of quality. I made it through that season, but gave up in season 3 as it had become pure soap by that point. Bones. Fairly decent crime/cop show. Season 1 was excellent. It stayed fairly good for a decent chunk, then it started faltering around mid-ish season 4. By the start of season 7 it was a clusterfuck. By the time Bones gave birth in a fucking manger I'd noped out. True Blood. By season 3 it was garbage. But guess who watched it all? Glee, because for a while everything seemed okay, but everything got too toxic and confusing after a while, which made me stop watching. Once Upon a Time. Initially loved it. I think the problem with US TV shows is that they go on for way too long. We should do them like novelists from Latin America. Tell the story in 60 to 70 episodes and then resolve it. The Flash. It peaked in season 2 and quickly nosedived. The Flash, Arrow, anything produced by CW. God, they had so much potential, but these stupid scriptwriters and directors turned it into a teenage crying fest. Literally every 5 minutes there would be an emotional dialogue. Bit of a tangent, as I've already seen The Walking Dead on here, but Fear the Walking Dead was fucking fantastic in the first season. Seeing how it all kicked off, how shit went down, and how people slowly came to terms with the fact that the dead really were returning to life. It was epic. That should have been a one and done series, because the concept was great, but it only had a shelf life of 1 season. Once the cat's out of the bag, it just became the other zombie show with significantly less likable characters. Designated Survivor. Holy moly. First season was amazing and everything else was glossy dog turd. Dexter. The show was great at first, but the writers added drama by giving Dexter emotion, even though Heather's a serial killer. Plus the whole sister wanting to fuck him thing is kind of a turn off as well, even though Shea's his stepsies. Ben 10. How they massacred my boy. They totally destroyed it in the reboot. Has anyone mentioned Happy Days? It coined the term era jump the sarco. I so hate saying this, but the X-Files. I had so much love for that show, but I couldn't get through the revival seasons. It made me appreciate how much great TV really is lightning in a bottle. For all I know, they just couldn't put a good story together without Vince Gilligan after all those years. Dexter, series 1 to 4 were amazing, very hit and miss after that with a downright fucking asterisk TER, asterisk finale. The Promised Neverland. Shameless. I think season 8 is where I noticed a distinct drop in quality. The dialogue was worse, the situations were more unrealistic, but overall it was still entertaining. Season 9 with the intro with the really poor CGI rats fucking, threw me completely out, and I turned it off. It was a harrowing show that provoked thought, by exploring real issues and highly entertaining with its debauchery. In fact Shameless was the first time I started crying, and said a good for you character NAME asterisk EUR. It just felt like it lost touch with itself, and started leaning too heavily into shock value and absurd situations. Edit, US Shameless. Shameless. Never in my life have I seen a show that had so much potential become downright unbearable and unwatchable as the series moved forward. The first few seasons were great, but damn that show went downhill. Vikings. After Ragnar died it was not the same, no matter how many characters they tried to replace him with. That 70s show. It basically petered out once most of the main cast left to star in other shows and movies. This thread made me realize how rare shows that keep their quality throughout the series are. One that comes to mind is Breaking Bad, and my all-time favorite, Rome, even though it was only 2 seasons. Grey's Anatomy. 13 Reasons Why should not have got more than 1 season. Bones. I used to love it, but they kept doing too much. X. Pellant, the gravidigger, stuff with her dad, moved into her having a kid, but then Shea's on the run, etc., and it was unbearable watch after they killed off SWEETSD-. The Walking Dead. It started off as a great show, and then just became a rinse and repeat of oh there are another group of human survivors. We'll clash and then kill each other. Designated Survivor. The first half of season 1 was great, the second half was still okay, but lost so much of its action that it became a lot less fun. The second season was too much political stuff for my liking, and there was no big plot, just a bunch of little ones. Season 3, it got taken by Netflix, and was absolutely horrible. Got rid of the best characters, and brought in unlikable new ones. The language of the show completely changed, and made it unwatchable. I stopped 2 episodes into season 3. Edit. Of course I get spammed with Reddit notifications over a comment like this.